Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Hello. Hello, 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 chat. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everybody? I hope everybody good. We're just gonna switch on over here real quick. Hello. I just wanted to say hi to Chatterinos before Chatterino is what's it called? Dealing with me and my suffering, of course. But hello, chat. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome in, welcome in. We're gonna be starting our stream pretty much immediately, because I don't want to allow, or I don't want Indy to be late for his own stream. So I hope you guys are doing well. I'm sorry that we're not playing Kingdom Hearts. I know I said we were gonna play Kingdom Hearts Recom today, but we are gonna just finish this real quick. We're gonna do this for the next 2 hours. We're gonna do the ending of Case 3. And I think this is gonna be great. I promise you, if you guys don't know the game, this is gonna be worthwhile, like, just sitting through. Promise, promise, promise. But I hope everyone's doing well. If I'm feeling better, oh, by the way, I am feeling better. I don't feel like I'm sick as shit right now, right? But If I'm feeling good enough to continue streaming, I might play Final Fantasy XIV on stream. If I'm not good to continue streaming, you might see me on Final Fantasy XIV anyways, but not on stream. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome in. I'm gonna bring in my lovely 2 co-hosts. 2 seconds. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, you guys are in here. That is good. We're gonna have a good time. I hope Chad is ready for a good time too.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. Okay, let's switch on over here and let me just open up my chat box properly. Alrighty, chat. If you guys are ready for the action, cheer on. And also, let me know how you guys are feeling today. It's a Wednesday. We're halfway through the week again. 24th of October, 11:53 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Oh dear God.
Oh, no.
Ah, the knight errant himself. Damn, right off the bat. I have to wake up.
Good morning, Shobes.
Literally, like he is actually
him sleeping in the stands.
he is literally the good morning moment that we needed, I guess. Goodness grief. I didn't
I'm
even
so in character, I'm still half asleep.
He's like, Oh, have you been watching from the gallery, Mr. Holmes? I thought you would have left by now.
I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time.
Asleep, you mean?
Asleep, you mean? Yeah.
Courtroom trials are fascinating affairs, as a spectator at least.
I'm waiting for Iris to come and be like, he was asleep the entire time. I'm glad you've been enjoying yourself.
Oh boy. Oh.
Oh no.
I have to ask. What on earth is going on? It makes no sense. What's this professor business all about?
He's probably like, what on
He is
what
the most
fuck?
confused out of anyone.
He is, yeah. He's like, dude, I just wanted my scientific machine, man.
You know what's the worst part is the fact that he does call himself a professor, so he's probably like I'm not a
excuse
killer
me.
from 10 years ago.
Yeah, he was just like, dude, I was still in Germany at the time.
I was still a baby.
He doesn't look like any professor I've met before. Who even is he?
Oh my god.
So fucking funny.
I mean, I guess he's got a point.
Ah, of course, you were in Germany during that time frame. Yeah,
Oh my god.
This game is so predictable sometimes. I really just embody Ryunosuke so much.
It's like I embody her luxury.
I know, and I just hate it how I was like, before I was jokingly, I was like, yeah, they put like a paper bag over my head and threw me in the back of the carriage, and then he actually says that, and I'm like, no.
This game is too funny when it comes to this shit. It's so uncanny. You were in Germany already 10 years ago. I love you, Star. Thank you. Can you pin that, or do you want me to pin it for you, Star?
Yes, the professor. When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, a sense of foreboding stirred within me. But who knew the monster would come knocking at your door? My heart felt sympathies.
As it turns out, Lord Van Zeeks is even more intimately tied to this case than any of us realized, isn't he? Wait, but
Huh?
what do you mean more than we realized?
Well, was it
Because his brother was killed by the
No.
professor.
No, but we know this, so why is it then
But
we
we've been-
realize, you know?
Because we didn't know that the professor was even connected to this case in the first place.
Oh,
Yeah.
We just knew that
to
he
this
was-
case. Sorry.
Yeah, to this case.
Sorry, for some reason, I read it as, or I understood it as to the professor, and I'm like, but we already knew this!
Yeah, to this case.
Hello? Yeah.
The current murder trial.
This disaster. Yes, how true. His great friend from university in the dock.
And now, a waxwork of the killer who took his esteemed brother's life makes an appearance too.
Bro, this is horrible.
Poor
Van Zieks.
Catch a break.
I imagine even the shrewd Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth.
God! Okay, Holmes, you can at least...
Holmes, chill.
Literally, like, chill a little bit.
An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow. To
Okay,
throw
we
that
were
in front of the man.
Hello? We were trying to! You make it sound deliberate. It's not! I can't help feeling that this professor case is really very puzzling.
Oh, yes? In what particular manner?
Why did it happen? Well, there's Mr. Drebber, Dr. Scythe, and Lord Van Zieks. It seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow.
Yes. In fact, I alone am not a member of the sect.
I don't know if that's a good thing right now.
No, that leaves me as an empty set. All alone with no intersection to any other. I think you should be grateful for that.
I want to say Gregson? I don't know who this is. It's either Gregson or I don't know what reason, Strongheart or let's just say Gregson.
Maybe Madame to spell because she was asked to be summoned.
It could be, but
And
I don't.
It gave the little chime.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Because I was gonna say I don't think any of the witnesses should be in
doesn't
here.
have that aura around him
That
as
you know
much
what?
as we'd like to believe.
Valid.
Alright,
Okay,
so, Madam to spell?
assumingly maybe.
Okay. Excuse me?
Ah, see, okay.
Oh, close
wrong
enough.
woman.
The other woman.
The other woman. Oh no, she was the other woman. Dr. Scythe.
I also forgot we asked for Dr. Scythe to be summoned.
Ah, Dr. Courtney Scythe. Miss Stevens, good day to you.
You're talking to yourself. Oh no.
Hello, Sholmes. Why did it freeze? Hello? Hello?
Oh.
Go back? Hello?
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 Hold on.
Okay.
I'm here.
Oh.
I close it. I close it manually.
Okay.
I was just
Okay.
gonna close it and reopen it.
I was
I
about
was
to
still
say, I could
here.
do it.
Yeah, I was still here. So. Okay.
Hello, Sholmes. That was very shrewd of you. What in particular, pray? You requested that 10-year-old autopsy report from Gregson, didn't you?
Oh, crazy little rocker. Thank you so much for joining in on the Oka Forest, darling. Thank you, thank you. Go back to Toxic though. I know that you're in Toxic stream. Also tell Toxic thank you for the shout out. Because I literally went into a stream to grab my daily lily pad and then pin something because I'm his mod. He's starting to do YouTube streaming today, so he's doing multi-streaming today. Anyways, right, yeah, Holmes is the one who actually requested this report. Wonder why.
Why would you assume such a thing?
I have access to who fucking got the records, probably. Oh.
Because Gregson told me.
Same thing.
To think it's been 10 years. 10 years in the laboratory, wielding my scalpel.
I'm gonna up your volume just a little bit, Indy.
Okay. I smell of nothing but corpses and disinfectant.
A policeman on the jury had a lot to say about you as it happens, Dr. Scythe. And I've accused you of being an accomplice in what happened. I'm hoping that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened.
That certainly won't be possible.
Take your places
Bailiff,
on.
you writing this down?
Take your guesses on why.
Because Lord Strongheart said no. Nuh-uh. I won't allow it.
I honestly have
Huh?
no idea why, besides she actually is an accomplice.
Lord Van Zeeks won't be summoning me as a witness.
I'm sorry.
Lord Strongheart has forbidden it. Oh
There you
shit,
go.
so I was right.
Yeah.
He literally said nah.
Okay. Lord Strongheart.
The Pandora's box you were warned about is the Professor case. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me.
But attempting to hide from the truth, that's cowardice.
I was also say it's probably also illegal.
I've always fought crime in the way I see fit. I have no regrets. None at all. And that's all I came here to say. So, good day to you.
She said bye. We couldn't get her. She mentioned it too, this Pandora's box. Whatever does it all mean?
Damn, did you see that? Was that fucked up or what? Anyway, there's really no cause for concern, I assure you, when the trial resumes. The meaning will all become too apparent, whether you'd like it or not.
Huh? What do you mean? Holmesy boy?
Now then, I believe it's almost time.
Why is everybody acting suspicious?
I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my seat awaits. He's so kissable from that angle.
I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much.
Ah, yes. One word of warning before I go. If, in the course of the trial this afternoon, you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone.
Like the Hounds of Baskerville?
Yeah.
Or was that too soon?
To the bitter end, you understand. Do not falter, whatever may come to pass.
I don't think it's too soon if it happened 10 years ago, but you know...
I mean, you never know.
Who you ask.
You never know. It depends on
People
who
still
you ask.
talking
Not
about
outside this-
9/11's too soon.
Yeah, it do be like that.
It just depends on who you ask.
All right, I understand. Thank you.
Good. I shall make myself scarce then. I purchased a bar of caramel earlier, so I shall be gnawing on that as you gnaw away at the truth.
He's not even gonna share.
He's got his own brand of caramel?
He's famous enough that I wouldn't be surprised.
Man. Why haven't we been eating caramel?
You know, the funny thing
That's
is, I think
bullshit.
I just finished a chocolate bar that was like chocolate caramel, something like that.
And you didn't share with us, Oka?
It was a gift. I
What
can't
the
share.
fuck?
I actually.
You could've given us a little nibble.
I haven't finished it, so I will give you half of it.
Okay. Yay!
It's hold on, let me literally look at the packaging. Oh, sorry, not caramel. Caramelized hazelnut. It's a Linden dark chocolate. My friend got it.
So good.
My friend got it from Europe on her trip, or on her trip to Europe. So,
Whoa.
I still haven't finished it, but it's also been melting at my desk, so it's fine. It's just a little like what's it called? Not gloopy, but like
Squimshy?
it's definitely not solid. You mean like kind of thing?
A little
But-
squimshy.
A little squimshy, yeah. What did that warning from Mr. Holmes really mean, I wonder? Especially the bit about whatever may come to pass. This motherfucker is so vague about his shit. Anyways. It's time for the final chapter then. I'm determined to find the truth. No matter what. October 24th, 12:40 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom.
I don't like how the waxwork is just positioned. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready and able to continue?
The prosecution is ready, my lord.
Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready.
As the court is aware, the cases under scrutiny began with the damaging incident at the Great Exhibition. Yet we now find ourselves embroiled in the details of a convicted felon who was sent to the gallows a decade ago. His trial has certainly defied all expectation.
As seems to be the fate of all trials in which this Nipponese is involved, my lord.
Okay, chill. Please.
It really sounded. The way you said that, it sounded like "Daddy, chill." Like,
I mean, let us begin our exploration of the defense's assertion that the waxwork was currently involved in this matter. Lord Van Zeeks?
My lord.
Are we still awaiting the arrival of Madame Two Spells?
Not at all. She is in the antechamber as we speak, ready to be summoned.
Very well, bring in the witness.
At once, my lord. Bailiff, show Madame Two Spells to the stand.
things are about to become a lot more intense. If Drebber is responsible, as I'm sure he is, it means he must have had an accomplice in Dr. Scythe. And what connects the pair of them is the waxwork. Yes, the model of the professor. But why? That's the key to the link between these otherwise unrelated individuals. It's a tenuous? Tenuous?
Tenuous.
Okay, tenuous. It's a tenuous link, admittedly, but at present, it's all we have to go on. We must find the oh my god.
State your name and occupation for the court, please.
Hi, Sammy. So what you're expecting with her to do with this?
Oh my god, she's making a Herlock Sholmes statue!
Yeah. What do you think she's gonna do to this statue?
Is she gonna
Crush
break
it?
it?
We'll see. Anyways,
Sorry, Sholmes.
Holmes is like,
Mine-
that's me! Sorry, from the crowd.
He's like, oh, that's me.
My name is
He's, like,
Madame
shaking.
Esmeralda Two Spells. I'm a waxwork artisan.
I do love her. Her design's
And-
so fucking pretty.
It is, yeah.
And the proprietress of Madame Two Spells Museum of Waxwork. You will have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon.
Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does he? Now there are 2 of them in the world. Oh my, what expression is she carving onto that face?
A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this?
Oui, that is true. At first, we believed it had been kidnapped.
A waxwork model? Kidnapped?
Yes, my lord. There was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I have just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. I understand it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim.
At present, that is no more than conjecture proposed by the defense. This is the victim of the case in question, Mr. Odie Asman.
But of course I know him well. He is a part of my Odious Personages exhibit. I detest to say what is evident, but Mr. Osmond does not resemble the professor at all.
Yes, but perhaps their faces are very similar.
Are you suggesting that we should see now the demasked visage of the professor? I have here the key, but it is strictly forbidden to open the lock.
This is absurd.
Pardon?
I don't know what face you've carved on your fancy figure behind that mask. But clearly it won't be that of the actual killer.
Indeed.
He's very strong about that statement.
The man's identity was never made public after all.
The trial took place in a closed court. The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. There's no possible way that that repository of tawdry exhibits could get its hands on that information.
Quel dommage.
Oh, quel dommage. It would seem you are unaware of the two spells' principles.
Huh? I like just hawing Rinosuke.
The family Two Spells has always prided itself on sculpting its models à la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Et voilà our principles.
There is a well-known legend about the Tispels waxworks from the time of the French Revolution. A member of the Tispels family is said to have made a waxwork of the queen who was exiled. Or executed.
Oui, that is true. It was a century ago now.
I believe the queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death, actually at the guillotine site.
You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. We two spells will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects.
Dear me, a somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose.
It is the only way to obtain a truly lifelike representation of the subject. And it has been my family's secret for generations.
Well, it's out now. Do you mean to say that beneath that mask?
Oui, the true visage of the killer is there.
This is ludicrous. It's out of the question.
The professor... Oh, sorry.
The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain. As a result, the Madame Tuspel's special exhibit remains extremely popular even today. The killer emerging from his own grave. It is a sight to behold. You should come.
Just promote it and then everyone just goes to her fucking place.
Yeah, it's free advertisement. Think of all
Yeah.
the people in the public gallery.
I
But
mean,
I'm
it's
like,
just
damn.
like McDonald's in the O.J. Simpson case.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think, madam, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on the matter. You will explain every detail of this macabre model and your personal involvement in its creation.
With pleasure.
We're getting the reveal? When are we getting the reveal? I want to see them unmasked. Ah!
Okay. The professor's waxwork.
The special exhibit in House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked the society in London. An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse, in accordance with the Tuspel's family principles. I enlisted the aid of the gravedigger and created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night.
Oh, so that's why he has a shovel in his hand, because he was the gravedigger.
As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered.
Bum, 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 bum. Do you think he literally dug up the grave for her to fucking sketch it out?
Maybe if she was offering him money.
I mean, probably. He might have
A
just been
grave-
curious himself, too.
Yeah. A gravedigger? The man sanctioned in this?
Oui, I will do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family is celebrated for. Nobody else knew, only the gravedigger. What harm did it do, huh?
So you truly saw it. The face of that monster!
Naturally, I was aware at the time that his identity was a secret. But two spells would not be two spells if we did not insist on absolute fidelity in our sculptures.
And that's the reason why she has it masked, because she will follow the rules, but she knows that it's the truth.
I don't believe this.
I myself have seen the special exhibit at your museum, madam. A truly blood-curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave.
The scene it depicts was the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. I have here a newspaper from the time. Time to read the paper.
Let's go.
The special exhibit was based on the picture in this article. It was the most detailed account of what happened, as reported by the eyewitness who saw it.
The 10-year-old article has been entered into the court record.
Time for us to read the paper.
Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words.
See if we can read it or. This is all. Oh. Did you see something? I saw it.
Oh, Asmund.
Husband.
Yep.
He's the
Yeah,
artist.
I was wondering when he was gonna. When I was like, why is his name in the bottom right there?
So
That's
he's the one.
suspicious.
Does he?
That's weird.
Is he the one who wrote this article, or took this picture, or that's the better
Is it a
question.
picture or isn't it just like a?
This is-
It looks like a
rendering?
sketch.
This is a
Yeah.
sketch. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Because
I'm
there's
pretty
no
sure that's
way.
an artist's signature.
Ah.
So that's Asmund's artist signature, is what I would assume, because that's normally what artists do when they draw
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Not
would
to
sign, like,
mention. Yeah. I was gonna say not to mention that if it was written, like it would be at the bottom somewhere, like of the text, the signature. I realized. So. Mm.
The public enjoys absurdity, monsieur. That's why I have reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum.
And it's a waxwork from that exhibit that was stolen some days before the incident of at the Great Exhibition, wasn't it?
That is correct. The professor you see before you here.
Most puzzling. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Scythe, and there has to be some reason for that, which hasn't yet to come to light. But I'll find it, and I'll get to the bottom of what really happened. I'll prove that Dr. Scythe and Drebber were in on this crime together. Cross-examination. Professor Waxwork. Do you want to go press everything? Do you think we have something to present, or do you want me to just do what needs to be done to push through the story?
Um,
I'll say right now, we can't present anything right now. We have to press on something, but it's only like one specific thing right now.
Push to the next one. What's the next? The next one? I think press that one is the one we need to press, right?
Do you want me to tell you or no?
yeah, please
Yeah.
tell me.
No, this is not the one you have to
Oh.
press.
Oh.
Damn. Oh, maybe it's that one then.
Yes, it's this one. But also, I just want to check what this one was again. Yeah.
Hold it!
Hold it! You were there longer than you expected to be.
I had some difficulties in capturing the subject's form correctly. As I removed the mask, the mouth of the cadaver fell open and I had some problems with the chin.
Dare I ask?
The man had been dead for a short while already, you see. His muscles were relaxing and consequently his chin would not align itself correctly.
Oh dear, what a horrible thought.
Under normal circumstances, I would have an assistant with me. However, that night, I was alone, and as a consequence, I missed my preferred window of time.
What do you mean by that?
When I take the impression the visage of a cadaver, I always wait until 3 hours after death.
Why 3 hours? Is that amount of time significant?
Isn't that like
when rigor mortis kicks in?
Yeah.
Yep.
It is because of rigor mortis.
Wrigley Mortis?
Wrigley Nordis.
Wrigley Mortis? It's the name given to the phenomenon that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the body begin to stiffen. By approximately 10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid and inflexible. And then, from that point on, the muscles slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. The effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered. Well, that was an education, if a slightly scary one.
As the Mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death, and it starts in the jaw.
Asmodeus, thank you so much for the yippee.
I see. So that's why you wait.
Before that time, the mouth falls open, and it's very difficult to do my work.
Ugh, it's getting hard for me to do my work with all this talk of corpses. I wonder about that information the courts just heard from Madame Tuspells. It's significant.
Yeah, I figured
It
that
is,
had to
yeah.
be the answer.
It's like, whenever they ask that question, it's always
you're like,
significant.
You just said, nah, it's nothing.
I like that they give us a choice as if it was ever going to be a choice.
Yeah.
The information about rigor mortis that you just shared with us, would you mind including it in your formal testimony? I believe it could be significant, you see.
Of course, I do not mind at all.
I can't help feeling that after this latest topic, the atmosphere in the courtroom has become extremely grave. Suzuto, my love, this is no time for jokes.
Suzuto, I love you so much.
Literally.
Suzuto, not now.
She's
Madam,
best,
kindly amend your testimony as discussed.
she is best girl for real.
Bien sûr. It took me a very long time because it was before the onset of rigor mortis.
Can we quickly look at the coroner's report for the professor?
Coroner's room? You mean the autopsy?
Autopsy,
Yeah.
yeah.
Examine. Death by hanging
by
confirmed at
midnight.
midnight. This is it.
Okay, so yeah, that places the onset of rigor mortis around 3 a.m. If they were to immediately bury him.
Humong, thank you for the daily leaf. I think... Hold on. Took a long time because it was before the onset of rigor mortis. As dawn approached, I was worried that I would get discovered.
Oh, so press that maybe?
We don't need to press anything anymore at this point.
Oh,
I'll say that.
Should we then go ahead and present the autopsy report to it was dawn when I could finally do it?
Correct answer, wrong point. I'll say that. We have to because
you mean-
this and this works together to not make sense with something that we have in our what's it called? In our court record.
Let me look at the court record then. If it's not that, oh, let me see the picture and the article.
Yeah. Newspaper.
This one?
Yeah.
I'll put this in the corner just so it's not blocking things.
A bullet. Hold on. Luggage just brought to prison. Then I've Deepen's execution. Professor forced off his grave cutter, clawed free from the earth.
How long did they say about rigor mortis?
3
They
hours.
said 3 hours to 10 hours.
3 hours to 10 hours for it to be
For-
stiff.
For it to basically, it starts at 3 hours, starting with the jaw, and
Mhm.
then at 10 hours, it's like stiff as a board. But then she was saying that she was having trouble with the jaw, which because it wasn't like
It wasn't
actually
set yet.
Yeah, so it means she was there before 3 hours, which is why I thought we could show the coroner report to show that because she said it was almost dawn, that would have been plenty of time since midnight for rigor mortis to have kicked in for her to be able to take the impression. So either he died after the coroner report stated, or she was there earlier.
Which means these are contradicting. You're right. You're exactly right about that, actually.
That's what I said. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh,
That
no,
we
I
used the
think
autopsy
I was
I
misunderstanding that
said-
completely. I think because I
No,
was
no,
listening
because
to what
there
Aura
I-
was saying.
There I wanted to present at the last point.
Yeah, that's why I said
not
you
the
had
before point.
you had the correct understanding, but you were choosing the wrong point. It's not. It wasn't the fifth point. It was the fourth point. Same thing.
At
Yeah.
that point.
Which is, I will say that is still one of the stupid things about this game, because both answers could have genuinely been correct, but they will force you to be like, nah, you gotta point at this one.
You
know?
gotta be extremely specific. It's like, do I really need to?
I mean, at least this game is like better with it, because they make it very clear which one you should be picking. But yeah, no, it's because you got the new information for number 4, but it doesn't make sense why the coroner report is written that way then, otherwise. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It just, 0.5 is just an add-on to it. It just secures that it doesn't make sense. No. Madam Tuspels, I have here an autopsy report that was filed 10 years ago now. It confirms the death of the professor following his execution at the gallows.
And is that a problem?
I believe it is, because your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another.
Quoi?
Are you going to explain yourself, my Nipponese friend?
According to her testimony, Madame Tuspels was creating her wax impression just before dawn, and at the time, rigor mortis has not yet set in. Am I correct so far, madam?
You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis 2 or 3 hours after death. But the man's chin was limp, so he cannot have been dead for a long time.
But on the other hand, if you look at Dr. Seitz's report, it quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June.
No!
If the professor indeed died at midnight that day, then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would already have set in.
Oui, yes, you are right. The chin, it would have been completely stiff.
Bonk. In other words, this report is wrong.
Objection!
Objection.
God is objection. Sorry.
No coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. The idea is very absurd.
So take your
Yeah,
guesses
then what
on
do
what
I have?
happened.
Yeah, then what do I have in my hands, sir?
Yeah.
You guys have any ideas on this?
Well, I mean, and it's also obvious that the professor was able to get out of the grave and go.
If that's true. It's stated as a rumor, and obviously when you see it, it's like, oh, but he couldn't possibly be like alive, like he couldn't have possibly been revived and like climbing out of the grave, right?
Yeah,
So it's a
also like
rumor
just
that
trying to get
happened,
the
but-
stone slab off the grave from the
Is this
inside.
like is this like an old switcheroo incident kind of thing? Like, you hit him with the old switcheroo?
1-2 switcheroo?
like he was
like-
replaced, or
Like, because we had to take into consideration a lot of elements. There's
yeah.
the fact that Lord Strongheart was very much insisted that it be a completely closed case. So very, very few people even knew what he looked like. Um, and then his right-hand man is the coroner, who he refuses to let come testify, even whenever we have suspicion that she may have been colluding with somebody. He insists, and she's like his most trusted person. Um, then the body is somehow manages to get up and walk away, it seems, according to stories. Um, and yet they found the body there. So maybe the first body that was quote unquote buried was alive, but then they hit him with the old 1-2 switcheroo and replaced it with a freshly dead body.
Do you, out of curiosity, with this theory of yours, do you think he's alive? Do you think the professor is alive if he got switched with a dead body?
I mean, maybe he would have to be alive, wouldn't he? Since he managed to escape. So maybe it's like the judge, because the judge also went from Japan to England, and that correlates with the time frame. I don't think it's her dad. I don't think it's Suzuto's dad, but maybe, but both of them went. So maybe it's the judge.
Potentially. Okay. Very interesting theory. What was I gonna say? The only thing I will point out with that theory is just it had to have been a newly dead body for them to swap. If they did swap a body, so
maybe they insist that the original time of death for the original person that they quote unquote buried was 12. Then he escapes at around like 3 a.m., which is why the breakdance man insists that he saw him get out of the grave and run away. But then during that time, whenever he went to go to the police, they'd already come over and they'd replace the body with the new dead body.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the police get there, they're like, well, there's a dead body in here, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I see. I will definitely, like, that's a good theory. Oro?
I mean, I think I'm thinking along the same lines as Dare. Unless it's like, he actually didn't die by the hanging, which is very rare, but it does happen. But other than that, I mean, I'm not sure.
Okay. Also, hi, Melon, and also hello, B. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's continue. In that case, there's only one possible conclusion. The execution didn't actually take place at the stated time.
I'm impossible!
Yes, you are impossible. You're impossible to most men's standards.
Order! Counsel, this is beyond folly! Not only did you indict the author of the report, Dr. Scythe, but you also implicate members of the staff at Barclay Prison where the execution took place.
Extraordinary.
Objection. Not in my day.
My learned friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact.
What fact?
The professor died that night, without question.
He did. Of course he did. I moved the man's limp jaw with my own hands. There was no...
Objection! Yes, the professor died that night. But what if he didn't die at the gallows?
Didn't die at the... Are you insane? What are you exactly suggesting did happen in that case?
Van Deeks is the textbook definition of my pronouns are he because I will never be him.
For real.
So true. It's almost impossible to believe, but it would explain the link between Dr. Scythe, the professor, and the one other person of interest. I mean, there's two other people of interest technically right now. I have evidence that will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night.
Counsel, present the evidence at once. What the fuck are you on about?
Don't worry, I got you.
The evidence that allegedly explains what really happened on the night of the professor's execution.
Do you want me to just choose it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the 10-year article. It'll explain itself. Or rather, he'll explain it. What happened that night is written very plainly in the newspaper article. Executed criminal returns in the dead of night at local cemetery.
You're suggesting it was a corpse coming back from the dead now?
No, I'm not suggesting it's corpse husband. Well, if this article is to be believed, then yes. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again.
Objection!
Objection. Don't be a fool. That's simply a rumor published by the gutter press.
Can you be certain of that?
Are you serious?
Yes.
The point is, the article says there was a witness to what happened.
My word, yes indeed.
My way, the young man who stole into the cemetery by chance that night.
Objection!
Of course there was a witness. The story didn't write itself. But obviously the man just made it up.
In any case, this was 10 years ago now. There would surely be no hope finding him.
Damn, you must
What
be
if he's
wrong.
blind?
Objection!
Juror number one.
And then John Cena just barges in like, I'm here.
You can't see me.
But I can see you.
Fucking breaks the table.
On the contrary, my lord, we all know this witness well.
What?
Are you suggesting, counsel, that you have identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen these utterly incredible events take place?
Yes, my lord. In fact, you could say that he's right here before my very eyes. Don't say that, it'll sound like it's Van Dinks.
I mean... I guess I'll let it slide.
Anyways.
Will you substantiate your latest claim now then, counsel? Who is the alleged witness of the staggering scene from the cemetery 10 years ago?
The, breakdance
Mr.
man.
Yeah, breakdance man.
Wait, I don't know why I couldn't find him for like 2 seconds.
I was supposed to say,
I forgot because
at the very end.
Because
Yeah.
I was like looking for gold and I'm like, wait, where is he?
No, it's the little kid who
I
wasn't
did.
born 10 years ago.
Literally. But, okay, so essentially we're claiming that he was actually alive still, but then someone killed him on the site. And that's the reason why rigor mortis did not set in yet. He was alive, but he died on the site. That's what we're saying.
Is that what we're saying? Okay.
That's at least what we're saying right now. That he actually someone killed him then and there.
I still
but
stand by
someone
my
sees it.
theory.
Yeah, it could still be the case. We could be wrong here actually. But yeah, that what we're saying, we need the witness on stand to be able to explain even further, you know. The man in question is Mr. Enoch Drubber.
Drubber.
A previous witness.
The special exhibit in the House of Horrors at Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork recreates that decade-old scene in great detail. The condemned criminal emerging from the grave, and beside the tomb, a young man with a lantern stumbling upon the terrifying sight. And that young man is a 10-year younger Mr. Enoch Drubber.
How old is he anyway? I completely forgot to look.
We can check in a second.
I'm gonna guess he's like 46.
I'm guessing in his 30s.
I was gonna say he looks like he's in like his
Hold on, Judge. We gotta
mid-20s or
solve something.
He looks like he's in his
Pause.
mid-20s or something when what's called that recreation was made, you know?
Mhm.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, people. 35. Yeah. Mid-30s.
Okay.
30s.
She's just a little bit older than him. Huh.
Damn. He looks
They were-
horrible for his age.
Yeah,
She's
Jesus.
26. God damn.
Oh my gosh, she's
Oh my
baby.
God.
Well, okay, she's baby to you. She's older than me and Noro. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, considering she's like a famous business person with like her name etched in like history.
Yeah,
And-
she's a hardworking lady.
Yeah. Order!
She's doing good for her life. God damn.
Sir, what the fuck?
I'll take that. I'll literally take that.
Drebber was there in Lowgate Cemetery.
See, this is an interesting thing of this could have been something they should have known, but at the same time, like, why would they know this information, you know? It's so, like, minuscule that we even know this information.
What is all this talk about Mr. Drebber? Is the name significant?
And she doesn't even know what's happening in this case, too.
Yeah,
Of
because she
course.
was literally just summoned.
Of course, Madame Tuspels doesn't know, does she? Yes, it's extremely significant, madam. In your situation as well, in fact.
What situation?
Yeah, there's kind of multiple, sorry. The theft of the Professor Waxwork from your museum some days ago was perpetrated by the very same man.
No! But that would mean...
Madame Two Spells. It would appear you know the name, Enoch Drebber.
Oi, yes, I know it. But from long ago in the past.
What? Oh my!
Gracious.
Explain yourself. Tell us everything you know.
Yes, of course.
Dun dun dun! Story time!
The story of the young man and the terrible sight he witnessed in the cemetery 10 years ago. Was published in every single newspaper in London and throughout Great Britain. However, in all of the articles, the witness was simply described as a certain young man. No details were published about his identity. His name was never revealed. That is, apart from one newspaper. The Daily Circus. It is the paper from which the article I have already shown in court.
You're saying that his full name was only publicized in that article?
Goodness me! Yes, here it is! A university student who experienced a shocking event is Mr. Enoch Drebber. A disciple of science at the University of London and a resident of its student dorms.
Unbelievable!
When I read the article, I went to meet with the man. His discovery of the condemned criminal coming back to life in the cemetery in the dead of night would make a perfect exhibit for my house of horrors, whether it was truth or not.
I see. So you went to meet Mr. Drebber in order to scope a waxwork of the man, did you?
Exactement. He was studying science at the University of London in those days. He was just a poor student. I paid him £5 to model for the waxwork. And since that time, it has been my museum to recreate the scene of terror from the cemetery.
And this is the reason why she has his camera. So, 10 years ago, a young man appealed to the public about an extraordinary event he'd witnessed. A criminal who had been put to death re-emerging from his grave in the middle of the night. But the public treated his claim as nothing more than an amusing anecdote that was soon forgotten. 10 years later, the same man steals a waxwork model of the executed criminal. Ostensibly, to use as a body double for the victim in the case we're discussing here today. Even though the waxwork's build is a poor match for the victim and its face is obscured by a mask. So the question is, why would the man do such a thing? Which brings us to 3 days ago, when the birdcage crashed into the Crystal Tower. If the birdcage had in fact contained not the body of Mr. Asman, but that same waxwork. The coroner from Scotland Yard who investigated Dr. Scythe would have noticed immediately. And yet she submitted this autopsy report for the victim, which the court has seen earlier. Why? Weoka, hi Sor.
Because the waxwork that was that of the professor. Is that what you're saying?
Bonk. Dr. Scythe put her name to a document confirming the death of a condemned criminal who was still alive. A criminal whose apparent resurrection was witnessed by Dr. Drebber. But that misconduct was a deadly secret that the coroner would do anything to protect. Which is precisely why Mr. Drebber used that particular waxwork as the body double.
Oh!
That came from your chest. God damn.
You good?
Yeah.
Method acting. Or no, sorry, not method acting. Acting.
Acting.
My lord. This court must summon Dr. Scythe to the stand. The defense
Would you rather I've just done like a little moan instead or
No.
something?
I mean...
What do you mean, I mean? The defense is determined to find out exactly how the coroner and Mr. Drebber are connected. Why do I keep saying doctor to his name?
But according to the missive I received this morning through the prosecutor's office, Dr. Scythe is unable to participate in these proceedings. Is that not the case?
She told us so herself, didn't she? Sorry, she told us so herself, didn't she?
Lord Van Zeeks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it.
Lord Strongheart. Heart.
The Pandora's box you were warned about is the Professor case. Ace. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me.
Bum. Something happened on the night of that killer's execution 10 years ago. And surely nobody would want to get to the bottom of that more than Lord Van Zeeks. Do you think he's gonna do it?
Yeah,
Come on, Van
I think he's gonna push. Come on, Van Zeeks.
Dude.
Come on, baby boy. The prosecution calls for the instructions in that missive to be scrapped.
Yeah! Let's go!
Ryunosuke knows him so well, he knows he wants the truth.
But, Lord Van Zeeks, the missive was issued from the Lord Chief Justice's office. My bad.
Directly from his house! Imagine.
The assigned prosecutor has the final say on policy in any particular trial. In other words, me.
Damn, that's hot. Sorry. Yes!
Let Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe both take the stand together.
Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Order. Very well, I will uphold your request.
Thank you for the bonk, by the way, Nugget.
Bailiff, send a subpoena with the immediate effect addressed to Dr. Scythe of the Forensic Investigation Team. The woman is compelled to attend on Her Majesty's orders.
Alright then. Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe. If they weren't colluding with one another, this crime could never have been committed. I'm just a stone's away. I'm just a stone's throw away. I can feel it.
We can't read.
We can't read
We're
today. It's
all
okay.
illiterate.
Let's go! The truth behind all of this is about to come out. We are about to take them out of the closet. Forcefully. She's like, why am I here still?
Thank you for your attendance at such short notice, Dr. Scythe.
I'm disappointed in you, Lord Van Zeeks. You've completely betrayed the agreed policy of both Scotland Yard and the prosecutor's office.
Which I will say, on a smaller note, is very interesting because courts generally will allow the coroner to actually testify in general. Because the coroner's information is so, like, necessary. It's the same as the detectives, you know?
Yeah.
That's why it's even more suspicious that Lord Strongheart was like, nah, she's not gonna go up there.
Exactly.
Betrayal is not in my nature, as long as truth isn't compromised. If it is, if there's even a hint of wrongdoing, then no matter whom it concerns or disgruntles, I will pursue the matter to the bitter end, as would any prosecutor worth his salt.
Mr. Drebber, you took the victim's life by means of a machine that you constructed in your workshop. And Dr. Scythe, as the investigation coroner, you were the first on the scene to examine the victim's body. It is the belief of the defense that you collaborated with each other and were both complicit in this crime.
And where's your evidence?
I love this pose for her, honestly.
Power pose.
It
Girl
is.
boss.
At present, we have no definitive evidence, but we do have a very significant clue.
What are you talking about?
Pat, thank you for the alert, by the way. I'm talking, of course, about the waxwork. This model of the killer known as the Professor, who was sentenced to death 10 years ago.
You don't need to tell me. I witnessed the man's execution with my own eyes, and officially pronounced him dead.
Weeb, that's a natural one. I'm sorry,
Oof,
Chief.
don't do it. Whatever you were gonna
Whatever
do,
you were
don't do
thinking,
it.
don't do it. It ain't worth your life. That remains to be seen.
Is that so?
according to newspaper reports from the time on the night following his execution. The killer came back to life.
Don't waste my time.
And the sole witness to that mysterious event was you, Mr. Drebber, wasn't it? Thank you for the care package, by the way. If what you saw in the graveyard that night 10 years ago wasn't some chilling fiction, but reality, it would make you privy to a very great secret of Dr. Seitz. A secret so profound, it could compel the coroner to agree to collaborate in your evil scheme, in fact. Mr. Drebber, tell the court. Tell everyone the truth of what you saw that night in Lowgate Cemetery. So you was a student who saw it. You can see the resemblance, actually, can't you? With the man in Madame Tuspel's, I mean. Surely he's not going to claim that's really what he saw, especially not after all those years. He was a research student at the University of London, wasn't he? And a bit too clever for his own good, if you ask me. That's an 8, Nugget.
Cool.
I wouldn't recommend doing whatever you're thinking about either. That's an 8.
What an interesting twist.
Hmm?
When at the time, not one person would take me seriously. I was about to say, he's about to go fangirl and be like, somebody's actually gonna listen to me. Yet, now here we are, 10 years later, and suddenly my story matters. And in a court of law, too. Very well then, if everyone so wishes.
Ooh, I like this song.
Let's be frank. I'll tell you the truth of what happened that night, for what it's worth.
This song is so...
Now, Mr. Drebber. Your testimony, please, about the events of that night. You will tell the court exactly what you stumbled across at Lowgate Cemetery. Yes, of course, as you wish.
In the cemetery 10 years earlier.
The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery all 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting, shall we say. Yes, the illustration in that newspaper article was based on what I witnessed that night. But thinking back now, I realized that I never actually saw the professor. So afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who sculpted a model of me from wax. And I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist, and it was all because of that newspaper article.
Wait a minute. You're claiming you didn't actually see the professor now?
Of course. You'd have to have a screw loose if you believed a corpse would come back from the dead.
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you and see if you come
I
back
know.
to life, bitch.
And then when he doesn't, he'll be like, I told you so, bitch, from the grave.
Damn it.
But, so you're saying this article is...
Not worth the paper it's printed on. I think that would describe it perfectly, yes.
That's wild. Ah! If the details in that article aren't true, it nullifies your argument for why Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe would have been working together. So he's discrediting himself to cripple my argument.
Tell me, witness. You claim to have been in the cemetery on some auxiliary business. Can you elaborate?
No.
That's right. Grave robbing, to be precise. As you know, Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. So among students at the university, it had a reputation for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. Grave robbing, you say?
If you're broke enough, I guess.
Yeah. Yes, exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. Of course, I never laid a finger on any valuables buried with the dead.
So you were one of the so-called resurrectionists, a particularly unpleasant scourge on society.
Actually, my fellows and I went by another name. The Repurposers.
Brother, what?
That is quite beyond the pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir. Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough.
No, you could suffer a little more, that's fine.
A daily circus eventually unearthed my name, put it in print. Caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university.
Because of who?
And that was
Asmin.
Asmin, yeah. Which then uncovers a motive.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's 10 years old.
Listen, he had the opportunity.
That was the only paper with the bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add.
The sole motive, there you go. I see. Thank you for giving me that information. Writes it down.
Out of interest, who drew the illustration for this article?
And he recognized it too.
Ah yes, that was the reporter who exposed me. He sketched that right in front of me as I described the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as time ticked on, I bitterly regretted what I have done. Claiming to have seen something I never truly saw. Foolish. Very foolish.
So foolish, in fact, it got me kicked out of university.
Yeah, no shit. Grave robbing is a crime. Well, counsel for the defense, you may proceed to the cross-examination now.
But at what point does it stop being grave robbing and start becoming really, really early archaeology?
Premature archaeology.
Yeah.
Not the pre-much. Oh, that's crazy. At once, my lord. Alrighty, I can tell you right now, we can present immediately on something.
We can probably present the newspaper article with the sketch that shows his name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, he never said the name, even though he was asked.
Objection!
There's where we got fun. Sorry, Mr. Drebber, but I don't believe that.
Don't believe what?
Monk, your latest claim. You did see the professor on that night 10 years ago.
Oh dear, we seem to be at odds. But I was there, and you were not. I know what I didn't see.
The illustration with this article was drawn based upon what you told the journalist that you witnessed, correct? A figure emerging from a tomb, wearing an iron mask.
Yes, when the killer was tried 10 years ago. It was decided in the closed court ruling that the man would wear the mask to hide his identity. It wasn't to be removed even during his execution and subsequent burial.
Not even the prison wardens were to see the man's face. But obviously the provision of this mark was not public knowledge.
Bonk! So, Mr. Dripper, as you've just heard, hey, you know what's going on.
Ooh.
A lowly student of the University of London certainly wouldn't have known about the condemned man's mask. So unless you'd actually seen the professor that night, it's inconceivable that the artist would have included the mask in that illustration. Yep, nobody knew about the mask. So how did you know about the mask?
Well, Mr. Dribber? It's a vile scene, isn't it? If you look closely.
Huh?
And as I've already been at pains to point out, I was utterly petrified. Which is why I had it in my head that I'd seen such a blood-curdling sight. But afterwards I came to my senses and realized that I'd been mistaken.
You're still saying you didn't see it?
If you're stubbornly sticking to that story, witness, then amend your testimony to explain exactly how you think your eyes deceived you.
Of course, of course. Only too happy to oblige.
Present that ends up, changing a testimony. I can't believe he's still not going to concede the point. Bum 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 bum. Say the line.
What I in fact witnessed was a fellow grave robber at work.
How did
So Madam Two Spells?
Damn, bitch.
fellow grave robber? What are you talking about?
Well, I wasn't the only one busy in the cemetery that night, you know. Other body snatchers were at work. Of course, when I saw one emerging from the hole, he'd be dug. My heart nearly stopped.
Oh, so it's not Madame Two Spelly's talking about.
So it's another dude. So that's the terrifying sight I actually saw, you see.
You're claiming it was just another student on equally salubrious business as yourself.
Many of the medical students would wear metal masks to prevent them from bacteria during dissections.
How the fuck would that protect you?
In those
No
eras?
idea. Clearly, the fellow was using such a mask to protect his anonymity, would you not say?
And you weren't? But there's more to the story, isn't there? The article goes on to say. In the next second, a gunshot rang out suddenly from behind. The bullet pierced the resurrected man's chest, whose breath then stilled once more.
We might assume that the sexton discovered the miscreants at work, perhaps, and fired upon one of them.
If a gravedigger had shot someone in the cemetery, I think it might have been rather big news, my lord.
Ah, yes, well.
Teehee oopsies, I'm hearing.
Well, I can only assume it was an embellishment bolted on later by the reporter.
Ooh. Madame
Yeah,
said, bitch.
Excuse me. Jotomate. Madam to spells. Don't take it out on Mr. Holmes, please.
Oh la la, pardon. I was lost in my thoughts.
Would it be fair to say that Mr. Drebber's last remark was significant to you in some way?
I thought it was a little strange, that is all. How Monsieur Drebber could claim this now?
If you don't mind me saying, madam, what are you talking about?
Him looking.
Oh, you
I'm
know
about to go.
exactly what I'm fucking talking about.
Bitch.
Him looking like, you don't want to be murdered too, do you?
Well, when I met you 10 years ago at your university dormitory, you recounted to me about your adventures in the cemetery, no? Including the gunshot?
Stop. You might want to watch your tongue, you know.
Now threatening in the court.
Objection!
Sir, you can't do that.
Have a care, Drebber. That's no way to speak to a lady.
We love actual gentleman Van Zeeks.
Yippee!
Please, Madam to spells, carry on.
Of course, as I was saying to this wet rat-looking little bitch. According to what Monsieur Drebber told me at the time, he did hear a gunshot from behind him, and the bullet hit the condemned man.
I said nothing of the sort.
Will you shut up, you sopping wet cat? No, you were very explicit about the details. About the mask that the figure was wearing. And the blood that splattered over you when he was shot. Oh, and then we can show the camera to show that there was
Shut
blood.
up, woman. You're making all this up. That will do. Fucking Mr. Drebber, by the way you're talking. Mr. Drebber. Got something to say?
Yes, Esmeralda. That's a 17, Ren.
Yes. You refute the account just given by Madame to Spells.
Is this an Ace Attorney game with mages? No, she's a waxwork. But she dresses like a mage. I mean, listen, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to dress like a
real.
witch? Honestly.
If you had that talent and people were calling you a witch, like, might as well play the part.
I know, right? And her and
It adds to business.
not to
I
mention
know.
her last name too.
Yeah, spells.
Yes.
Do I need to say this again?
No,
Or...
no, no. I couldn't press the button.
I have no recollection of ever saying those things.
Come on! Do you really expect?
Control yourself, counsel. I will not permit baseless accusations in my courtroom.
You're right, Judge. Right.
Under the circumstances, I think it's best that you supplement your testimony with a statement to clarify your position on this, witness. Very well. There was no gunshot from behind me at all, nor any spattering blood.
Okay, then we can hit it with the camera with the blood on it.
Yeah. Just be like, nuh-uh.
No.
Hold on.
And then he'd be like, huh? And we're like, what the fuck is this then?
No one needs splatters. There's here all this stuff. So I'm just looking at how this is supposed to go. Because I don't think we can actually present this immediately. Or maybe we can, and this guide is being an asshole, actually. Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, then we can present the
Yeah,
camera
like-
because the camera has blood.
Objection.
You
No.
click the glass!
Wait, did I click the glass?
Yeah, you clicked
You
the
click-
glass.
Ah, god damn it!
Ugh.
I probably went one over by accident. Oopsies.
It's okay, Oka.
Okay. Nor any splattering of blood. Okay. Press this. Camera!
Camera.
Objection.
No. Surely something about that last statement seems odd, doesn't it? Would you care to mull over it while you go to Japan? Yeah, no, okay, we have to do something else first.
Bruh.
Okay. Yeah, I knew I was like, what the fuck? Okay. We have to do one thing first, which is this. You have to press here.
Hold it.
That young woman being Madame Tuspel's, of course. Because this was added in here. So.
Precisely. I must say, I didn't expect to run into her again like this 10 years later.
Oh, I know why. I know why. Okay. Well, it'll explain itself here.
As I have explained, I went by the name published in the article, and comme ça, I found the man.
Yes, the article in the Daily Circus. I think you said...
I was a poor student with barely a penny to my name at the time. And the young lady put 5 pounds in front of me.
So you readily consented to having a waxwork of yourself made and gave permission for it to be put on display.
I did. I should sell what little I had to sell, I concluded.
Ah, oui, I remember now. I purchased something else from you that day, n'est-ce pas?
Oh, and she bought the camera.
Oh.
We have to ensure that the court knows that the camera is
Oh, that is
actually
his.
genuine. Yeah, that's the problem.
Did you? I can't say I remember.
What was it, madam?
His camera.
Ah.
Oh yes, I made a point of taking it with me whenever I made an excursion into any cemetery. You took a camera with you, sir? To what end? To record the details of the bodies I disinterred. Or is it disinterred?
Disinterred.
Okay. But I had no intention of ever visiting a graveyard again after that night, so I sold it. Oh, I see.
But I still have it, monsieur. It is a part of the special exhibit in my House of Horrors. I am very meticulous about such details. It is the Tuspel way.
It would seem then that this is the very camera Mr. Jarber took with him to Lowgate Cemetery on the night in question. Interesting. There we go.
Okay, now we can present
Okay.
it.
Yes, now we can present. I was like, why the fuck do we need to talk with her about it? Ah, ha 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 ha. Because this was
we go.
never
Then
mentioned.
now we can-
Now we can.
Got him.
But two! Objection! Your Honor, this dude is bad news. Mr. Drebber, do you remember this camera?
But that is the camera from that fateful night.
I kind of stole it from the museum. Yes, yes, we borrowed it from the House of Horrors. Anyways, it's the camera you took with you to the cemetery that night, Mr. Drebber.
And that is supposed to be significant?
Oh, it will be.
This kind of camera is rarely seen in our homeland, so my colleague and I were keen to examine closely. We noticed that the lens extends forwards on the end of some bellows. Bonk. Like this.
Hold it!
Hold it. What's that? There, just on the bellows. It looks like a dark red stain.
No.
That's right. It's a rather conspicuous mark here on the bellows, in fact.
Good lord, are you suggesting?
Yes, my lord, it would appear to be a splatter of blood. Something that could be confirmed with a simple chemical test. Isn't that right, Dr. Scythe?
It would be difficult to determine if it was human blood and not the blood of some animal. But yes, to test whether or not it's a blood sample at all is simple enough.
I propose that Madame Tuspel's testimony was correct. And that on the night in question 10 years ago, you were spattered with blood from a gunshot wound.
Oh, well,
Uh-huh. Must I say more? And that furthermore, you really did witness the condemned professor emerging from his tomb. Bonk. There's simply no way that you could have forgotten such a traumatic experience.
He's got a point.
In other words, the only explanation. I'd be lurking. No worries, RN. Thank you. I think I just spoiled myself. Hey, make sure you don't. Make sure you don't. Don't worry about it. Take it easy. Take it easy, okay? Is that you're trying to hide the fact that you saw the professor that night.
Objection!
Objection. But why? Why would he want to do that?
Well, not for his own gain, it would seem.
For whose then? Who could benefit?
Mr. Drebber is obviously lying in order to protect somebody. That's a 19, by the way. That's a 19.
Ooh.
Let's go.
Let's go. Good
You should
job,
do
good
it.
job. You, whatever it is, you should do it. Oh my god.
My goodness, he's shielding someone.
Hit the nail on the head, did I? Yes, my lord, and clearly. It's someone who doesn't want the truth about the professor coming back to life to be exposed.
Well, counsel, who is it then? Who is this witness trying to protect by lying about what he saw that night? Dr. Scythe. Right.
Yes. Sorry, I looked down to make sure I was correct. Or make sure you were correct. The obvious answer is Dr. Scythe.
Scythe?
Whatever do you mean?
Well, I'll tell you what I mean. Imagine if the convict who'd been sentenced to death was not in fact killed. Imagine if that was to come to light.
What are you insinuating?
You can tell that Barack is getting stressed. Real. imagine if the convict in question was the country's most hated mass murderer. If it was the professor.
That would be an unprecedented scandal.
Objection!
Objection. This is beyond a joke. Need I point out that the dead do not come back to life? What you're suggesting would mean the execution never actually happened.
Yes, that's exactly what it would mean.
Objection!
Objection! Once a man is sent to the gallows, he hangs. No one could escape, not in Great Britain.
Objection!
But the fact is, there was a witness to the fact that the man did escape his hangings.
If that were really true, Counsel, the implications of misconduct would not stop at the supervising coroner. It would taint the honor of the entire judiciary, from the ground up.
Who is the professor we're talking about here? The professor is a mass murderer who died 10 years ago. Or did he? And it's exactly because of these monumental repercussions that Dr. Scythe would consent to any demand made of her by someone who threatened to expose the secret. Even if that meant being complicit in a crime.
You mean...
I mean that Dr. Scythe wasn't collaborating in I mean that Dr. Scythe wasn't collaborating in Mr. Drebber's wicked scheme. She was coerced into collaborating in order to protect her decade-old secret. She switched the dead body of Mr. Asman with the waxwork model and fabricated the autopsy report.
Ah!
So how did the victim die? We are currently finding that out.
Let's go!
Finally! He brought the foot. Lord Van Zeeks! Your feet!
Pray forgive my freshly filled hallowed chalice, and a whole raft of other discourtesies now.
It's me!
It's just the sort of tall-tale Londoners would enjoy, I grant you. An executed killer rising from the dead, a Scotland Yard cover-up, a conspiracy at the highest levels. So let me ask you one thing.
Why? What's that?
If the condemned man really did emerge from his tomb that night, only to be shot in the chest, who pulled the trigger and disposed of him forever?
Who killed him?
Ooh.
Ah, shite. I have no idea at the moment. We have too little information to work that out at present, I think. I couldn't agree more.
The Old Bailey is no place for wild fantasies.
Also, Sammy, thank you for the care package. Ugh.
And have you considered this, my learned Nipponese friend?
Considered what? Y'all ever seen the concept art of baby Barack learning the No, I have not.
What?
I have not, actually. Can you send that? Sunshadow? Not in Twitch. You can't send links in Twitch, but can you send it in the Discord server or something? That would be so...
I want to see it.
I want to see it. I might look it up myself too if need be. But yeah.
Do you realize just what a dangerous endeavor it would be to coerce this woman into such criminal activity?
I actually looked at this, got very confused, thinking this was her, and I'm like, wait, this is Van Zeek's voice. Looks at the name. Oh,
I could read for one brief moment.
we have literacy.
It's tantamount to declaring war on the entire British police force and judiciary.
Right. Hard to imagine any sum of money being offered for research could warrant it.
To rely on some stage deception when so much is at stake would be madness.
Well, I suppose.
And this was no petty crime either. The victim was murdered. A man who'd already invested money into the venture and would be instrumental in future profits too.
Yes, I had no reason to kill Mr. Asman at all. Or are you forgetting that his death results are in me receiving not a single penny? The court is already aware of the contract between myself and the victim, no? There is the contract, that's very true.
The motive for this case runs deep, though. I can feel it. He doesn't need money.
He wants revenge.
Using threats to force the hand of the forensic investigation team to cooperate is extreme, especially for a government grant he had no guarantee of receiving in the first place. If the research grant was the aim, taking Mr. Asman's life would have made no sense anyway. Which means Mr. Drebber's motive wasn't money at all. He was just trying to kill Mr. Asman. But why? What was his motive then?
Bro, he literally
Your
ruined
time
his
is
life.
up, my learned friend.
Oh, I see. Okay, I found the concept. I found the concept, kitten. But I'll show it.
Show it.
You know what? Actually, it's not that big of a spoiler. Actually, it kind of is. Hold on. Gotta.
Damn
Let me
it.
let me crop out something and then I'll show it. I'll show it. Okay. Okay.
I'd say you have one last chance before the jury loses their patience with this charade. Let's see if you can back up your heady proposal, shall we? How do you explain why this engineer would throw all caution to the wind and threaten his own country?
Lady dog.
Look at the way he
Yeah.
dodged. He's like,
Matrix looking ass.
Nuh-uh.
At this point, I'm not prepared to listen to more of this outlandish conjecture without proof. So, counsel, present your evidence. Can we present the newspaper article
Yeah,
again?
I'm assuming we present the newspaper article again.
Alright, who exactly was Mr. Asman to Drebber? There's a connection there that no one's seen yet. And I'm going to have to present 2 pieces of evidence to show what it is.
Oh.
Also, I'm sending it to you guys.
Oh my god! Oh, baby!
The little leg kick practices.
That's so cute. Oh my heart.
Okay,
Little baby.
let's look at the stuff again. Okay. We need 2 things.
So definitely the newspaper article.
Yes, my lord.
And then explains why the victim wanted him dead. The newspaper article and I don't know what the other piece of evidence would be.
Do you want me to just say it? Because it's kind of a... I won't lie, in my opinion, this is kind of stupid, but it's because we already have this understanding, so it's like... This should have been common court knowledge, but you want me to explain it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
We know the article for sure.
It's the article because of its signature.
Yeah.
It's the contract to prove it's the same person because of his signature.
Oh.
It is to
Gotcha.
confirm that it is the same exact person in both scenarios.
And not just not an Ollie Asman instead
Yeah,
of an
yeah,
Odie
yeah.
Asman.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's
Just twin
he-
brother Ollie, you know, that we've already concluded he does not have a twin brother.
Yeah.
It's a matter of we already know that they're both the same person, but technically speaking, the court doesn't really know that as the truth.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So it's this signature proves without a doubt that they are the same person. So the evidence that establishes a motive and explains why the witness wanted the victim dead is right here. We already knew that he wanted him dead because this is his motive. So yeah, that's more or less.
Take that!
Take that! It's this newspaper article, my lord.
That was written 10 years ago. And every detail has been examined already. What can it possibly tell us?
That drivel should never have been written. It's typical gutter press nonsense that means nothing.
Well, you're explaining exactly why you're angry right now. Yes, on its own, it isn't particularly significant. However, when considered alongside another piece of evidence, it will completely explain your motive for wanting Mr. Asman dead.
What other evidence?
Counsel, you will present your supplementary evidence without delay. The evidence, which when cross-referenced with the newspaper article, establishes a motive for the deed.
Take that!
Take that. It's this contract, my lord. Mr.
with the
Drebber,
booyah.
this is the contract you signed with Mr. Asman.
Yes, that's right. The very document, in fact. That proves I had no reason to kill the man. Forgive my outburst earlier. That's definitely not a reason why I killed the man.
No, I'm afraid not.
What? Sorry, he caught me like mid-yawn.
You're all good. There's something very significant that this newspaper article and the contract have in common.
Really?
Really. And it's that common link that shows very clearly why you were determined to kill Mr. Odie Asman.
It seems the defense has uncovered something the rest of us have missed. So, my learned friend, point out what these two pieces of evidence have in common. Where exactly is the link between this newspaper article and the contract?
The signature.
Yeah!
Take that!
Take that! What these two pieces of evidence have in common is a signature.
A signature!
Bonk. The signature on the illustration that accompanies the 10-year-old article and the signature on the contract belong to the same person.
What?
He's looking away. As
And
the court
he's looking at his accomplice.
As the court has heard, this illustration was drawn 10 years ago by the newspaper reporter who found Mr. Drebber and interviewed him about his ordeal. If you look closely, the reporter's signature can be seen in the bottom right corner of the drawing. And if you look at the contract here, which was signed between the witness and the victim last year, you can clearly see Mr. Asman's signature at the bottom.
Let me see now. Good lord, yes, they're identical.
And we know he does not have an identical twin, too. In short, the journalist who drew the illustration and wrote the article published about Mr. Drebber 10 years ago was the victim of this case, Mr. Odie Asman.
There he goes.
Objection!
Objection. But explain to the court why.
Why would that constitute a motive for the witness to murder Asmund?
Well, if you think back, you'll remember that Mr. Drebber talked about that article in his testimony. Flashback, flashback, flashback.
Grave robbing, you say. Yes, exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative, tiv. That is quite beyond the pale. You would invite the divine retribution, sir. Yes, well, I think I suffered in retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with the bad grace to identify me unambiguously, might I add. Then I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist. And it was all because of that newspaper article.
Cool. At the time, you were a student at the University of London who dreamed of becoming a scientist. However, this single newspaper article changed your entire life.
So, Mr. Asmund used to be a newspaper journalist, did he? Probably should have stuck that way.
He did, my lord.
He would have been friends with my good friend Manny Memo-san.
In fact, it's widely held belief that Asmund managed to position himself at the heart of his criminal network. Thanks to the many dubious connections he made during his time as a reporter.
So,
but chat be
over here. Looking so cute, looking so fine tonight. Thank you for the chat, love. So, you had to give up on your dream and leave university. You lost everything. Freeman, thank you for your daily leave. Eventually, you found yourself working in the field of science, but only in the shadows. And all because of that article written by Mr. Asmund.
Enough. Stop this endless drivel about my life!
Huh?
Explain yourself, Mr. Drebber. Yes, it's true. I had to leave the university as a result of that article. But it was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
What do you mean?
Almost every student of science in the facility was too poor to actually conduct any research.
Drebber looks like a rejected Yu-Gi-Oh character is what Freeman said.
For real. But they struggled on with their hypothesis anyway. We all did, only to have them taken away by vultures.
Also, we're doing good. Just got back from Swords, feeling good. Hey, nice.
Sooner than later, you knew your ideas would be stolen and patented by some wretch or other after all. Good gracious. Making a name for yourself as a scientist in a climate like that was a miracle only a select few geniuses could ever hope to achieve. Personally, I wasn't one of those geniuses, so it was hardly a wrench. Being forced out of the university because of Lowgate was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Objection.
Objection. Mrs. Drebber. Do you genuinely believe that?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Who's better placed to know whether or not I possess a talent for science than me?
I'm sorry to say that your words don't ring true at all.
Damn.
How dare you?
And I have evidence to prove it.
How are you in a position to say anything about me?
Oral?
Oh, sorry. I didn't see the last part. I don't know you from Adam. Fine. If you think you have evidence, go ahead. Show it. What could you possibly have to disprove the idea that I was happy to leave the university because I lacked talent?
Just like slide the fucking trophy, maybe.
Hey, we stole this from your house, by the way.
Yeah, I hope you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Do you remember this, Mr. Drebber? We found it in your workshop.
Is that a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science?
What exactly is this trophy, Council?
It's the greatest honor that can be bestowed on a young scientist, my lord. He was a prodigy.
There is no higher accolade. It recognizes emerging talent and promises a bright future.
Good gracious.
Your prospects for the future were excellent, weren't they, Mr. Drebber? Because even then, you were a genius in your field. But you lost everything. You had no more future. Your talents would go to waste. All as a result of this one newspaper article. I don't know when you realized who Mr. Asman was, but when it dawned on you that he was the same journalist who 10 years ago ruined your life. It's abundantly clear that you had no intention of forgiving that man.
The truth is...
Finally, he's going to fold.
No, he's not. No,
He's
he's
not.
not. That's too easy.
It's
He
been
hasn't
2
become
hours,
fucked
he's
up
not
and
gonna...
disheveled.
Indy, I think. Yep. I was right. Her.
Fine. Clearly, this has run its course now.
What?
I admit it. All of it.
What? She's admitting.
What are you doing?
It's exactly as the Japanese man said. I was coerced into going along with this man's plot to murder the victim. On the condition that he kept my dirty secret from 10 years ago.
No!
Lord.
Dr. Scythe! Do you realize what you're saying, woman?
It's all true. That day. When I arrived at the Crystal Tower and saw the birdcage, my heart nearly stopped beating. That memory from a decade ago that I'd done my best to bury deep inside myself. It was the professor again, staring at me in the face. And then, before I had the chance to react, I noticed something else. There was a note tucked inside the model's jacket. Dr. Scythe, you will go along with my plan. From someone who knows the truth about what really happened that night 10 years ago. All the instructions were there in the note. Every detail was meticulously written out. I had no choice but to do what it said. I made the necessary alterations to the scene and fabricated the autopsy report as instructed. There was really no other choice. It had to be done to protect the judiciary. I can only apologize now. I don't buy it. I feel like she's still...
Why on earth would you buckle now?
She's got some other hidden motive to hide her hidden motive to hide her hidden motive. Well, there's no point trying to hide it anymore, is there? I would have done anything to stop it coming out, even collaborate in a murder. But the great lie about that execution 10 years ago has been exposed. Whatever happens, I'm finished.
So then, Mr. Drebber, what do you say to that? Your accomplice has admitted everything.
Surely it goes without saying.
You admit your part in it too, then.
I admit nothing at all.
Ha!
Bro. Have you forgotten that the kinesis machine was ripped to shreds by an explosion? Short of me admitting to a crime, there's really no possible way for you to prove I did anything wrong. Do you not hear yourself right now?
No.
Order.
Whatever this man says, I admit everything. He threatened to expose my secret, so I went along with his plan. And Lord Van Zeeks. Yes. I hope you'll accept my apologies. What happens next is in your hands, of course.
She's smirking so strongly.
I've heard more than enough now. I hereby present the final findings of this court. This trial is not the proper forum to which to pursue the alleged wrongdoings of Mr. Drebber. Defendant is Professor Albert Harebrain.
Very true. It had slipped my mind.
Isn't he one of your closest friends?
As the court has heard, Dr. Scythe has admitted to the allegations brought by the defense, thereby absolving the defendant of any possible guilt.
You mean...
At the present time, it is the conclusion of this court that the defendant was not involved in any wrongdoing. Does the prosecution have any objection?
None, my lord.
You.
Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo. You've proven Professor Hairbrain's innocence.
Without further ado, then, the adjudication. Unless the prosecution or defense have any other matters to discuss.
I don't know. This doesn't feel quite right. Why did Dr. Scythe suddenly admit to it all like this? Is everything alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Like you said before, the way the trial is set to end now, the judge will certainly deliver a verdict of not guilty. But is that really what we want here? What the defense should be pushing for now is... your choice.
Sherlock told us if we have even a shadow of the truth that we need to pursue it until the very end. So I
Yeah.
feel like we still need further testimony.
I agree with further testimony.
Further testimony!
Because I don't want fucking Trevor to walk out a free man.
Well, no, Drebber's not going to walk out a free man. Like, he's denying it, but what essentially it is, I think, is like they'll have another trial, pretty much. But they're gonna call the trial here because
now!
yeah, it's like because the thing is that this is just to see is Hairbrain innocent or not. It's not to find who the killer is. All the trials have never been actually to quote find the killer. You know what I mean? They're only meant to protect the innocent. But we just accidentally find the killer in the end. We could actually just get away scot-free without finding the killer here, but we are intending to find the killer here. So,
We're gonna figure it out.
We'll figure it out. The defense objects to the trial ending at this time, my lord. We are gonna do it. We're not gonna let some other lawyer attempt to do it.
I beg your pardon?
We demand one final testimony.
What? Madame Two-Spell's probably like, can I go sit down now? You do realize I'm about to adjudicate in favor of your client, I presume.
What are you playing at now, my Nipponese friend? Why would you want to obstruct the conclusion of the trial at this point? No defense lawyer in his right mind would do that.
Good thing I'm not in my right mind.
I'm in my left mind.
Mr. Naruhodo, what exactly are you thinking? The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. A way to bring it all out into the open. Right. We will get it. We will find the truth. So in hindsight.
Ah, yes, a word of warning before I go. Oh. If, in the course of the trial this afternoon, you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. I pursue it like a dog with a bone. To the bitter end, you understand? And do not falter, whatever may come to pass.
Yes.
How is Ryunosuke never assassinated? Honest to God. Even Phoenix was like attempt murder, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure Mr. Holmes knew. He must have deducted that this would happen. Deduced. Yes, I'm here in court to advocate for my client and to secure an acquittal. That's all I need.
Obviously.
But that's not all. I believe that I have a duty to the court. To pursue the whole truth of the case until every last detail is laid bare. And That is why the defense calls for further testimony from Dr. Scythe.
Testimony from me? About what?
Bonk. About the nature of your collaboration with Mr. Enoch Drubber.
Huh. In that case, it's escaped your attention. I've already admitted to everything I did. The whole truth has already been revealed. So stop wasting everyone's time.
You're getting defensive. Ah.
As his lordship made very plain, your client will get the acquittal you wanted for him. There's simply no point protracting this business further with another tedious cross-examination.
Objection!
Pray forgive my careless handling of that hallowed bottle. I slipped.
That is still...
Lit.
I slipped. Oopsies.
Throws a wine bottle back. It's lit.
And then his entire, what's it called? Fangirls is just like, oh my god, he did it! That's what you call it? A slip?
What is your objection, Lord Van Zeeks?
The prosecution also calls for supplementary testimony from the witness.
Don't be stupid!
If there is more to this case than is yet to come to light, then I will join my learned friend in pursuing the facts until the bitter end.
Yo, what?
Lord Van Zeeks.
This is most irregular, to say the least. However, as the prosecution also calls for it, I will uphold the request. Dr. Scythe, you will testify for the court, explaining the full extent of your involvement in the murder apparently committed by Mr. Drubber.
Very well.
The waxwork pot.
It all began at the scene when I saw the waxwork of the note tucked inside its jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instructions, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigation team to dress the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago was a state secret of the highest level. I had to protect it.
Bum, 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 bum. So I was right. The stage and the machine were all specifically designed for this deception.
So it seems. And all meticulously prepared. You did well to see through it. You're a very shrewd boy.
So kind of you to say. What about this autopsy report then?
All I did was record the location of the body as being in the Crystal Tower instead of under the stage.
That's all. That's a terrible corruption.
Only my team were aware of the deceit, and then only under my explicit instructions. Nobody else at Scotland Yard knew anything about it, I assure you.
We must be thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Well, I believe that testimony has clarified everything. There's no particular need for cross-examination, I would say.
No, I disagree. I can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. Just look at that expression on Dr. Sith's face. It's the defense's right to cross-examine any witness following testimony.
What is it about you Japanese that makes you all so doggedly persistent?
Very well. If you so desire, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. So, we're gonna be pressing something real quick. Which is this part.
Hold it!
Yeah, I was
Oh,
about to
that-
say, what do you mean arranged?
Yeah.
When you say arranged, I presume you mean with this.
Yes. The instructions in the engineer's notes said something along the lines of... fabricate some evidence to make it clear that the harebrain alone could have killed Asmund.
So, you mean that was your doing?
I fetched Harebrain's ridiculous screwdriver from the stage. And took it with me, alone, to the abyss under the stage where the birdcage had fallen.
Alone, Doctor?
I didn't feel it would be appropriate to involve anybody else in that particular part of the deception. There was a void under the stage where I found the birdcage lying in the dirt. I approached it, leaned down, and slowly opened it up. Then, I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged it into the man's chest.
And then you noted that in your faked autopsy report. As a fictitious?
Fictitious.
Fictitious cause of death.
Exactly. So, the actual cause of death was... the trauma resulting from the 30-foot drop.
My word.
What is it, Miss Suzuto? Something about Dr. Sight's last statement is playing on my mind, that's all. Yes, mine too. You're smart, Ryunosuke? Dr. Sight! I'm gonna ignore that comment.
There's really no need to shout. I can hear you perfectly well.
The defense calls for you to add what you just said to your formal testimony.
Oh, which part?
What I want her to supplement her testimony with is...
We can only have one, we can't have her add both.
No, it can
Can
only
we
be
look
one.
at the court record?
Yeah, can we look at the court record real quick? Can we look at the original? Yeah, the original autopsy report.
This one?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Time of death, yeah. Cause of death, hemorrhage.
Of a wound to the chest that pierced.
So, yeah, the
the
actual
we
cause
should have
of death.
her, mention the cause of death so we can push it against. So the real cause of death
That's not what it is.
Oh no, what she did. Oh no, because she said that he died because of that. So yeah, what she did to him.
How you stabbed Mr. Asman in the chest. That part.
Fine, if that's what you want. But there's really no need to point.
As if Hans sees
The
does it.
prosecution concurs.
I also point.
Bitch.
Dr. Scythe is like, why the fuck is everybody pointing at me? Very well. You will supplement your testimony now, witness.
If you wish, my lord. I stood over the victim's corpse where it lay toppled cage and plunged the screwdriver into the chest.
Now, I will tell you, there's something that you guys are forgetting, but it's also just because we haven't seen this in a hot minute. What's odd about this picture, based off that statement?
He doesn't have the screwdriver in his chest anymore?
No, because the screwdriver... No. The screwdriver did get brought up to the top. You're right. Something else. If he was laying down like this, and he got stabbed, how would the blood...
Why is it dripping?
Why is it going down?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's the problem.
Okay.
So the stab had to have been done...
While he was still standing up before he fell.
Exactly.
Objection.
Objection. Bonk. I've got a nasty feeling that this inconsistency points to an extremely uncomfortable truth. This is a new
What's
soundtrack.
the matter, counsel? Have you lost your tongue?
I apologize, my lord. Dr. Scythe, in that last statement of yours, there's just one point that seems to defy explanation.
Out with it, my learned friend.
There's an obvious inconsistency between your description and this photograph,
Look at this photograph.
which shows the victim in the birdcage following the events that led to his death.
Objection.
Objection. The court has already examined that photograph in depth. There's nothing new we can learn from it.
Objection.
Yes, we have already considered it, that's true. But we now know the facts to be different.
What do you mean?
Bonk.
I believe we should let the defense explain. Where in this photograph would we see the alleged inconsistency with the witness's statement?
The blood drippies.
Yep.
Take that.
Look closely at the blood stain on the victim's chest. It clearly extends in a downwards direction towards the man's feet.
And why is that significant, counsel? If the victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion, that's entirely expected. Ah, of course, no, that's not what happened.
Exactly, my lord. Dr. Scythe made it very clear in her testimony just now that the point at which she stole Professor Harebrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim was after the grand deception was set in motion, when the birdcage had fallen below the stage out of sight. From the shape of it, it's clear that the birdcage would have fallen on its side after the 30-foot drop. And if the victim had really been stabbed whilst inside the birdcage in that position. The blood from the wound would have spread out equally in all directions. For it to have formed the longitudinal appearance we see in the picture is inconceivable.
Ah!
Bonk. Given that the victim's blood seeped vertically downwards from the wound, it must be the case that when you stabbed Mr. Asman, he was standing up. In short, Dr. Scythe, your latest testimony was totally fabricated!
Ah! Ah! Sorry.
There you go, man. 2 spells is now gone.
She left. I knew it. I was right. Now I've identified that contradiction. There's only one way to explain the facts. We've all been under a great misapprehension here.
What? What sort of misapprehension?
Dr. Scythe. You claim you were coerced into helping Mr. Drebber as a result of the note he left in the waxwork. You claim that you made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. And you claim that you authored a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of those claims is an out and out lie. Because the question of what the bloodstain really tells us has only one possible answer.
If that is the case, what is it, man?
What the fuck? Since when has he ever said man like that?
I guess when he gets really desperate.
Mm-hmm.
Counsel, you've clearly struck upon a revelation. Now tell the court what it is. Which part of Dr. Scythe's story is shown to be a lie by the contradiction in her testimony?
The stabbing of the victim?
Yes.
Okay, I was about to say, or is it like, are we supposed to pull a big brain move here?
No. This is simpler. The answer is very simple if you consider the sequence of events. If, when the victim was stabbed, the blood from the wound seeped downwards, as it did, we can be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time.
But as you rightly pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the stage.
Yes, it would have, which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord.
Objection!
That's impossible! The man was dead, remember?
No, that is the misapprehension.
Everybody has so dainty. Just like, oh.
When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with considerable force. But Mr. Asman didn't die in the fall. He probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came round, he got to his feet to climb out of this cage. Just as Dr. Scythe appeared. If the victim was in fact alive at that point in time, it changes everything.
Oh.
Mr. Asman's killer wasn't the defendant, Professor Albert Harebrain. Nor was it the mastermind behind the stage trickery, Mr. Enoch Drebber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe! She killed him.
Gah.
And you can hear more of that in the stream in about 30 minutes from now.
Oh my god.
Hold on. Please, Miss Scythe, calm yourself. can this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool?
And that's why she agreed that she was being
It was
coerced.
you, was it? You killed him.
Oopsies.
This right here is my favorite thing.
Not the Markiplier
ever.
love.
In the history of forever.
Towards Indy?
I think about
Always.
this every day. I think about this all night long. I stay awake, not sleeping, because I'm thinking about this.
You hoped that by admitting to be an accomplice in Mr. Drebber's scheme, the trial would end before you were accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder.
Oh, do shut up! You're so desperate now you're making all this up. As if I would do something like that.
That is a 9, Nugget. Whatever you're thinking, don't do it. Roll Constitution save against the thirst. Well, goodbye.
It was nice. So I'll see you in Indie stream in 30 minutes.
I'll see you in Indie stream in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I assure you the defense is not desperate, Doctor. Mr. Naruhodo has established the facts using evidence and logic alone.
Ha! Logic? Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it.
Huh? What do you mean?
I'd have thought it was obvious. A motive, boy. You're lacking a motive.
But
What possible reason would I have to kill Asmin?
Yes, Sora?
so then your secrets from 10 years ago don't get out?
Well,
Asmin was
Asmin doesn't know.
involved in any number of criminal activities, from coercion to theft to murder.
Asmin doesn't know the truth. Asmin just ruined.
Well, yeah, no, but if she was being threatened by Drebber,
Yeah. But she has no reason to kill Asmin, technically. She doesn't have a genuine motive to kill Asmin. She wouldn't kill for the sake of that secret. She could be coerced into fabricating a death that was killed by Drebber, right? But she herself has more on the line by killing him, you know? Yeah, Asmin is just a reporter. He's not gonna, like...
yeah.
He doesn't have any actual evidence for that.
But there's no known connection to Dr. Scythe there.
Huh.
I'm rather relieved to say it doesn't seem somewhat far-fetched.
True, there's no obvious motive. But there's still something in the back of my mind. I feel sure I've seen something somewhere that hints as to why the coroner might have done this.
Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concocted a fake report. But murdering someone for no reason is a very different story.
Objection.
No. When you question what possible reason you could have for wanting to kill Mr. Asmin, something did come to mind.
What?
Do you guys remember anything that we saw when we were at her, office?
The accounting books,
Mm-hmm.
and about how there was like a plethora of scalpels orders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we were saying there was a weird amount because there's no need for that.
Mm-hmm.
What was it, counsel? Enlighten the court at once. She's embezzling money.
Yes, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time. Bonk. There's a particular object that explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Asmin.
The scalpels.
Scalpels?
It's a scalpel, or rather, scalpels.
Hello?
Are you seeing?
They left.
They
No,
left.
someone joined the call
Yeah.
and left.
Yeah.
Hello? I'm checking.
The person was.
Oh, okay. Okay. Don't worry about it. It's my
Okay.
friend. I don't think she understood that she can join the call.
Oh,
Oopsies. Okay.
did you say scalpels?
Ah!
It would appear that word has struck a chord, Doctor.
You. Come on, out with it.
It was yesterday when we visited your laboratory. Look at this big, thick book here. It appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spendings, I think. Oh. What is it? Is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but. Well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? Wait. They're buying 500 scalpels every month. Month.
500 scalpels? A month?
At first, I wondered what on earth you could be using that many scalpels for. But actually, I realize now it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them. Disappearing every month from the department's accounts.
Asmund's criminal organization relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Tracing the money from the forensic investigations team's account should find out where it was going. Would be extremely straightforward.
God, this is why it's an 18+ stream. 10 years ago, when Mr. Asmund was still a journalist and wrote this article about Mr. Drebber, he may well have stumbled upon information as he was researching the story. Information relating to Dr. Scythe's darkest secret that he would use to rake money from her for the next decade. Yeah, so you were actually right. I was just joking. He also was blackmailing her because of the secret.
But low-key blackmailing.
It was low-key, high-key blackmailing.
Drebber, who actively on the crime scene wrote a letter and was like, hey, this is what you're going to do.
Her. I don't even need
Drebber
that.
and Asmund were working together for her to do that. So that they could get more money. That's why they didn't care about the money on the contract.
Mm-hmm. Your Honor, my client would like for the following to go on record. Quote, I saved up that money every month via girl math. There was no extortion. What the fuck,
girl
Freeman?
math.
Girl math. Her darkest secret? Good lord, you mean?
I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, were you? You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Asmund in the heart with all your might. To silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever.
You'll never understand. None of you. What we've had to keep covered up all these long years.
As very little of the machine remains after it was ripped apart by the bomb, the truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Scythe will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, own up to what you've done and tell the court the truth about what happened.
Hmm.
10 years ago, you told the truth, and you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness and your consternation now. However, this is surely the chance you've been waiting for. To sever the hold that fate's had over you all these years.
Hmm. Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. I mean, really.
About to rip his fucking thesis to shreds.
It's the addle-brained mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. They go on and on about their wonderful hypotheses, their stupid eyes shining like little child's. They make me sick. I can't abide by their foolishness. Careful, Mr. Drebber. I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. It made for quite a show, didn't it?
So you admit it. You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim.
Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge.
Revenge for the future that Mr. Asmund's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier. But the revenge you sought didn't stop at at Asmund, did it?
Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see.
The condemned convict that you saw rising from the grave in Low Gate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events were all true,
Then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what had happened. Even if it meant discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he might have had.
so your plan required that you abduct that particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well, or on Dr. Scythe to be precise.
It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Asmund turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye. About the coroner who'd handled that bogus autopsy being appointed head of the new forensic team. When I learned of that news, my cognitive processes started to devise the plan.
What a horrid take.
He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use the man's own wiles against him, for revenge. And have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation I had to suffer.
Your actions against those who ruined your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly, no one has the right to destroy another's prospects, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you?
Did I?
Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis, but you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. Thank you for the care package. Thank you for the social media check. But remember this. Your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man.
And I'll do it again too.
I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you
Oh, for you
meddling
and
kids and you
kids and your
dumb
stupid
dog.
dog. Lord Van Zeeks? What of Dr. Scythe? Where the fuck did she go?
An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted and she's been remanded into custody, my lord.
Also, can I say that this is the first case we've ever had where there's no, like, the bad guy is, like, losing his
Like
shit?
the mental break.
Yeah, the mental break.
I presume she will face trial in the coming days along with Mr. Drebber.
A most regrettable situation indeed. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It's really hard truth to swallow. However, that is a topic of some future occasion. For now, Professor Harebrain.
You're like, hold on, I need water for this.
Yes? It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realized. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt. This whole experience has taught me a very great but painful lesson. Being this dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I've been selfish and self-centered, and above all, a fool.
Professor.
I spent my life thinking of nothing but my research. Misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to, despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I've caused others pain and misery. Others who are far, far greater people than I.
No, Professor. That's not true.
What?
Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Drebber. What happened was his doing and his alone. This outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way.
Lord Van Zeeks.
And the derision with which he referred to you earlier. calling you a fool. Talentless, even. That man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams. That's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another for such choices.
Oh. You Barack. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Yes, my lord.
It is a squirt's exception that you find the defendant not guilty on the charge of which he stands accused. I presume there are no objections?
None from me, my lord.
Certainly not.
This trial has really made me think, but this is the right decision.
It's all been proven methodically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever.
Huh? What's that? He's done, is he? It's all over?
I don't know what's become of the young these days. I don't recognize the place. Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant
Not guilty!
Yay!
The fucking air horns.
Which one of you is doing the air horn?
That's Oro.
I was about to say, take a wild guess.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Court is adjourned.
Bonk. It's over. That was some trial. Meta, thank you for the daily leave.
So just tell, I think I'm gonna retire now.
24th of October, 4:33 p.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. Professor! What a splendid outcome, isn't it? Oh, it is. It is. Congratulations, Professor Hairbrain.
Aww. Mr. Naruhodo. Miss Yuzito. I am truly, beside myself with gratitude. How can I ever thank you enough?
I'm just glad it's all been cleared up. That you realize you were just caught up in a bad situation.
Right now, you know, if I had that research grant money, I'd give the whole lot to you. Every penny.
Well, that's very kind, but I'm just a student, so... We don't need any financial reward. Your acquittal is more than enough.
Oh dear, oh what can I do? Aha! How about this? As a memento, this paper is about my hypothesis inside.
Well, just as a memento then. Thank you. I've been wondering, Professor. What are you going to do now? Freeman, if you could stay, stay. I would highly recommend it.
Oh my yes. What am I going to do? A hypothesis and great machine lie in ruins. But still, it's been too long since I was last in London, so perhaps I'll enjoy some sightseeing. I must explore the great exhibition whilst I'm here too. See if that new inspiration hits me.
Oh yes, that's a wonderful idea. Indy. Barack.
I can't allow that.
Hi. So glad you came
Lord-
to see me.
Lord Van Zeeks, what are you doing in here?
A rock.
I'm sorry you had to go through that, Albert.
Well, if I'm honest, it was terrifying. You were like a great demon behind your bench there, snarling down on your prey.
That's kind of kinky.
God damn.
You're one of the few true friends I have.
Oh.
I couldn't leave it to anybody else to handle the prosecution. Or the defense.
He made sure it was us. He trusts us. Sorry? Or the defense. Did I hear that right? He's praising us.
I always knew you had my best interest at heart. Don't worry. How about you show me around while I'm here in town? It's been a long time since you left university. We have a lot to catch up on.
Few true friends. Buddy, he's your only friend.
Yeah. Unless we're his friends now.
Listen, Albert. In a few days, your acquittal will be made official. When that happens, you must head straight to Dover. I'll accompany you.
Wait, is he trying to make sure he doesn't get hurt by the Reaper's curse?
Probably.
Yeah.
What?
From there, you'll cross the channel and make your way back to Germany. I've already purchased the tickets.
No, hold on a minute, Barack. I've done the great exhibition. This is the chance of a lifetime for me. Don't you look.
No. No sightseeing, Albert. Give up on the idea.
Oh. Sometimes it's hard to see any warmth in those eyes, Barack.
Lord Van Zeeks. What's all this about?
A necessary precaution.
Yes, I think I understand. You do? Well, Iris told me that when you met Lord Van Zeeks at his office some days ago, he asked how Mr. Natsume was doing. Yes, that's right. I remember being surprised at the time and thinking it was nice of him to ask. The point is, Mr. Natsume is still alive and well. Even though it's been more than 6 months now since he stood trial with the Reaper as the prosecutor. Ah, wait, you mean the Reaper's influence doesn't stretch overseas?
Those in the Reaper's sights meet their ends days or sometimes months after their acquittal. That's been the pattern up until now.
But of course, we know that both Mr. Natsume and Gina were completely innocent.
True. And perhaps that governs the Reaper's actions. The truly innocent are spared. But I don't want to take any chances with close personal friends.
Friend, singular.
Barack!
Like the mustached Nipponese, this man should leave the country without delay. That's why I'm packing him off to Germany at once.
I like that I like the idea that he actually is just throwing all his shit in a luggage and is like, nope, you're leaving, bye.
He's like, present self,
Scram.
Does your friend-shaped package get any say in it? Goodness, was this your intention all along then, Lord Van Zeeks? In court, where people think of him as the Reaper, this man seems absolutely merciless. And yet, sometimes, I feel as though I don't understand him at all.
It's time to go, Albert. Back to the prison for the time being.
Ah, yes. All right. Well, then, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you so much for everything.
Not at all, Professor. It was a pleasure getting to know you. Best wishes, Professor. Hairbrain.
Well, once you dust that settled, you must come and visit me in Germany. Anyway, bye for now.
Now, my Nipponese friend.
Oh, yes. Wait, I thought you'd been gone too.
We have matters to discuss. Can you spare me some time?
You want to talk with me?
I'll be waiting in the courtroom in 10 minutes.
I will kill you there. Just imagine he's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you, by the way.
Now they're gonna fuck in the courtroom.
For real?
Ryunosuke, not understanding the circumstances, is bringing Suzuto with him. Wait, what?
Oh no.
Well, that was strange. For some reason, I didn't get that sense of impending doom as he walked away this time. He must really like me.
No, he likes me.
Oh, we're friends now.
The enigma, Barak Van Zeeks. What does he want to discuss, I wonder? The answer awaits in the courtroom, I suppose. Here goes then. Thank God, I will say this for one last time. The 24th of October, 4:58 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom.
Why are we at our assigned seats?
So, are you satisfied? You saved a guileless scientist from a great injustice.
Yes, I think so. I'm relieved, at least, that the man's innocence could be proven. Why am I terrified right now?
Anyway. I imagine you've been wondering where my animosity towards you Nipponese comes from.
Well, at first I thought you just didn't like me.
First I thought it was just the generalized racism here in the country.
At first I thought it was because you didn't like me. And then I realized it's because you're racist. I imagine you saw me as a pretentious child from an unimportant land who had no business being here. But now I think differently. You're just fucking racist.
It's so ingrained in your culture that you're just racist.
I mean, the British are racist. That's just it.
You clearly know.
Yeah.
I misread that. I thought that said, you clearly know your ways. I'm like, yep.
You clearly know our ways. So I would guess that some specific incident led to your thorough dislike of my race. Will you tell me what happened, please?
The professor.
So you wanted to know, right?
Yeah.
I thought I'd never hear that name in this courtroom again, to be honest.
He took your brother's life.
Clint. My brother was Clint Van Zeeks. 16 years ago, when I was still just in my teens. He was already the director of prosecutions and a key member of the judiciary. I looked him up. I looked up to him. He was everything I aspired to be.
I looked him up
on
in
Google.
the yellow books just to make sure.
He was involved in the establishment of the justice system in foreign countries as well. There were exchange programs between Britain and other nations then too, to share knowledge and ideas. As part of one of those programs, 3 judicial students came to Britain from your homeland, the Empire of Japan.
When you
So
said
we already know
Oh
2.
my god.
when you said 3 earlier, I was biting my tongue. I was like,
Oh my god.
fuck, Indy.
Am I a fucking genius?
Oh,
Well, I mean, according to your tarot cards, you can predict the future, so...
if it was 16 years ago, then one of them could have been my father.
Of course. I remember Dr. Mikotoba well.
I had no idea.
I was a minor at the time, training at the prosecutor's office. One day, Clinch introduced me to 3 visiting Nipponese.
So, you've actually met my father.
He and his colleagues were polite and amicable. They were adept at their work and exacting in their standards. It was my first encounter with the Nipponese spirit, and it made a very great impression upon me. But 6 years later, that's when it happened. The investigation was going nowhere. There were no suspects even, just an ever-growing list of victims. And in the end, my brother became one of them. The last, in fact, before the case was finally resolved.
I'm sorry, Lord Van Zeeks. Truly.
Clint was always ready to put his life on the line for justice anyway. So he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. He lost his life to the killer, but it was his victory in the end.
Oh.
For me personally, though, it was a great loss. I found myself in a very dark place indeed. When I finally found out the killer's identity, the reason why no one had been able to catch the man sooner ceased to be such a mystery. He had been hiding in plain sight all along.
In plain sight.
Are you aware of political events 10 years ago? It was a period of extremely sensitive diplomacy between the British and Japanese empires.
A new treaty was being forged, I think.
Correct. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation was being concluded. The leaders of both countries were deep in extensive political discussions. Which is why this particular killer's appearance in court was conducted as a closed trial. If the British public had known the identity of the killer, not only would the treaty have been in jeopardy, but our 2 nations could very well have ended up at war.
What? A war? Between Britain and Japan? But that would mean... Oh my! You mean to say that the professor was... Sit back and relax.
When the
Oh my
trial
God.
reached its conclusion earlier, I
Oh
thought
my
to
God.
myself,
Voice acting.
it's time.
We're gonna have this on autoplay.
Time for you to come face to face with this hideous monster. I borrowed the key for the mask from the proprietress of the Waxwork Museum. So see for yourselves now. Confirm it with your own eyes. The truth that's been hidden this past decade.
This is also the reason why I needed it in English, by the way.
Oh my god.
That's the professor?
Yes, that's him.
Until now, the thought never even crossed my mind. That the mass murderer, whose crimes shook Britain as never before. Was Japanese.
Oh my god.
Wait a minute. That face. I feel as though I've seen it somewhere. It's strangely familiar.
Oh,
Oh!
Kazuma. Oh shit, he's gone sicko mode.
Oh shit!
Father.
I'll let that sit for
You
a
know-
second. Also, also, Oro has a new PNG.
Oh my god. Aura.
So I want to just emphasize real quick. Oro was the original voice for Kazuma when we first restarted this
Oh
game.
my god.
So I made sure Oro specifically was going to be this.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And Drea, we only were going to have the masked version, but Drea's asked if we wanted the not unmasked version. So we have both.
Father?
So wait, that was Kazuma's... What?
Kazuma's dad?
Kazuma!
After a year of him
My
being
best friend.
gone.
Kazuma Asogi. After a whole year, finally his memories returned.
Oh, he's so beautiful.
As his
This is
No,
like
it
the
was just
Gandalf the
not
Grey versus Gandalf the
again.
White kind of situation. Oh!
Ryunosuke.
Kiss!
Please,
My husband.
Barack, you are now officiating this marriage right here, right now.
My friend.
He looks like he's gonna cry!
Oh my
Susie-
god.
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba.
He looks so good!
He does.
It's been a very long road. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Thank you for guiding my friend here when I could not.
Oh.
It,
Yes.
I knew you wouldn't die that easily. Kazuma.
I owe you thanks too for taking good care of that in my absence.
Oh,
His sword.
Oh.
Karuma. The great blade of the Asogi clan. Passed down through the generations. When we left Japan, this sword was at my friend's side. A Japanese man's katana is his soul, and he couldn't be parted from it. But then, when the incident happened, it was Susato-san's wish that I inherit the sword, and I've kept it with me ever since, along with my memories of the friendship we shared.
Oh.
With this by my side, I always felt that you were watching over me somehow.
God, they're so husbands.
They are.
They are.
There's nothing, like, straight about this.
I've made it. At last. Father.
Are you saying... Surely not. You mean, you knew all this time? I'm looking at it. But I still can't believe it. This mass murderer is Kazuma's father.
Kazuma's father killed Van Deeks' brother.
Oh my god.
Well, rip her work.
Damn, that blade must be very
I mean,
fucking
she could melt
sharp.
it back together.
Yeah.
True.
Kazuma-sama.
Man, how come he has two swords now and I got none?
We have
But-
much to talk about. But now is
Didn't-
not the time.
His dad die at the beginning of the first game?
That's John Watson.
I'll be seeing.
No, but like, didn't they have a funeral for his dad?
No.
Oh.
There's no funeral at the beginning of the very first game, except for John Watson's, technically.
That's all
Whose
Kazuma
gravestone were
said
we standing at?
Oh, you mean in the beginning of this game?
before he turned
Oh,
and
this
left
game,
us
yeah.
there?
That was Kazuma's.
quote-unquote Kazuma's.
That was quote unquote
Oh,
Kazuma's,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So Suzuto assumed it was Kazuma's, but then they explained, no, that's a fake gravestone because they are hiding the truth about what happened to Kazuma.
Gotcha.
Anyways, Brock has just been watching this the entire time. Anyways, back to the story.
So he's the living afterimage of the man who took my brother's life, is he?
Yes, Kazuma Sogi, my best friend.
I wonder how Barack feels about that.
3 months ago, when Lord Strongheart introduced us. I had an inkling there was something there. Some connection.
But why did Lord Strongheart do that? Why did he make Kazuma Lord Van Zeek's apprentice? And when he was suffering amnesia too?
The man was apprehended, even executed. But his legacy just won't die. That's the sad truth. Anyway, that's all I had to say. See ya.
Pretty much.
I thank you for meeting with me as I asked.
are like bawling their eyes out, and Van Zeek's like, "Well,
Anyway, that's about it. See ya.
see ya next trial."
I told
Fucking
Or
critical.
and he just nopes out of existence.
I literally told Oro, I was like, see, here's the thing. The ending of this case, I went and rewatched it because I was like, is this the case that has this ending? I couldn't remember. And I looked and I watched the first like 3 minutes of it and I started bawling my eyes out earlier. I was like, oh
I
no,
was starting to
it's
cry.
it's this case. 10 years ago, my grandmother took me to the railway station. We were there to meet my father from the train. For me, it was the first time I'd ever seen him. Poor Suzuto-san. All this is tied up with painful memories for her too. She's never talked about this with me before though. It took time to adjust to having father around, but just when I was starting to get used to it, he called me into his study one day. He told me that a great friend of his had passed away in London, and that the friend had left behind a son. A boy, 7 years my senior. Father told me the boy had made a promise to his late father, so he was studying to become a defense lawyer. I wanted to help, so I studied to become a qualified judicial assistant. As I'm sure you've worked out, that young man's name was Kazuma Asogi.
Oh.
So you see, that's how he and I met. So, literally childhood friends.
For
Yeah.
a brief moment, my great friend had returned, only to disappear again all too soon. But in that fleeting encounter, something stirred. Something that had been dormant for a long time. As if great wheels had been set in motion, I could almost hear them creaking into life. In some ways, it was the end of a chapter, but in many, it was the start of a new one.
The end. And so now, you get the truth of Kazuma. You get to know who the professor is. And you know more backstory on Van Zieks. And that's why this case was so vitally important for us to finish today. Unfortunately.
I'm sorry
it has been overtime, by the way, Indy.
No,
It's okay.
it was worth it.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. The way just Van Zieks disappeared. My sister and I were rewatching it because it was a show from our childhood, but like, back to the barnyard.
Oh,
There was this one scene where it's like, folks, I'm sure this has left you with gaping and scarring emotional wounds. And everybody's like, well, yeah, it kind of has. And the person's like, I thought so. Well, good night, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, that's kind of like the scene right now where Van Zieks was like, so yeah, I just basically did a whole trauma dump on you. See you next trial. And we're all just like,
Damn.
what?
Yep. That pretty much is what happened. We just got trauma dumped right now with a lot of what's happened. But in the end, yeah, that happened. And now we know the truth. And Asogi looks so good. And
He
it
does.
it
He
made me so
does.
happy. What I
so
will say.
beautiful.
What
He
I will
always
say
looks so good.
is that the sad part is I actually did get spoiled on this part when I had first gone through this scene.
No.
So the thing is that I think what ended up happening, it was an accidental thing, and it was my fault, quite frankly. I think I was looking up images for Asogi to show like a friend or something, and I saw his white outfit.
Oh.
And I'm like, I know
Aw.
that this is not a part of the main game. And I was
Oh.
like, fuck! And so I knew that he actually does come back at some point. And so I wasn't surprised about that, but it's still... this scene still broke my heart. It's the easiest thing to be spoiled for. Yeah, it is unfortunately the easiest thing to be spoiled for because you don't expect to see him again. So you're looking at like, you want to look at like concept art or anything like that and you get freaking spoiled instantaneously. You can be spoiled on this twist from the OST. That's also true. The OST does give it away, to be fair. And the next name of the case, the Twisted Karma and His Last Bow. Like you can...
Oh.
You can kind of get an idea even just from that title, right? There's so many ways you can get spoiled on it, which is unfortunate, but it's such a good scene. So good of a scene. Oh my god. And now we understand why Brock does not like us, quite frankly.
I don't blame him.
I really don't
But
blame him.
he's warming up to us though. He likes us now. He recognizes us.
He likes us now, but now everything kind of is probably gonna go to shit because Kazuma's Ryunosuke's best friend is also, the son of the killer who killed his brother.
Like I said, I wonder how Brock Van Ziek now feels knowing the son of his brother's murderer is his apprentice, or was. I don't know if they're going to be working together in the future.
He believes him to be an apprentice, but I think he's more concerned with why exactly was he put into this position. Same as you guys. Why is he the apprentice? Why is he put under this position for him? But it doesn't look like it's that bad of a situation, at least right now. So who knows? We'll see. He's at least not upset with us knowing this information.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's all we can ever really hope for and ask for. Anyways, Oro is no longer masked, so let's go.
Let's go. We get to see Oro's beautiful face.
For real. And yeah, Kazuma is alive and well and going to be talking to us very, very soon. So, yeah, props to the artist. Yeah, Drea did I'm so thankful for the fact that Drea even, suggested the idea of an unmasked version.
It was amazing. It's so fucking real.
She pulled a big brain movement moment out there.
Yes. So Oro
This
actually.
right here is my favorite.
Thank you for the
thing
Markiplier
ever.
love. So
In the
Oro
history
actually
of
knew this
forever.
twist from
I
the
think
very
about
beginning.
this every day.
I
I
just
think about
didn't
this
know
all night
how it
long.
was gonna
I stay
happen.
awake,
That's
Yes.
what got
not
me.
sleeping
Yes,
because I'm
and
thinking about this.
that because we were trying to figure out since Oro was going to be joining us for the entirety of this game, right? We were trying to figure out who do we want Oro to be the art for Oro, right? And I was like, I want Oro to be Kazuma. I think that would be the best thing. But I had to explain a little bit of details. Actually, wait, no. In the first game, I told you this, didn't I? Because you said, oh, I might come back for game 2 depending on like my studies and everything and when we actually do game 2. Once
If it
you were
makes
done
the
with schooling.
situation better, low-key, I forgot about.
I remember. I told you at the end of like case 2 this spoiler. This is the reason why, like, when we brought you back, I was like, okay, that's fine. I already told you this shit. That's what happened. Did Oro have a finger on the trigger, or was it Oka? Trigger for what?
I had the finger on the trigger to change the foodies.
For switching the model.
Oh, yeah, no, that's Oro. That's all Oro.
I had my finger on the trigger.
I told Oro that what's it called? I told Oro that we
You're
were
like,
going to
at
change
the
it at the
end
end of the
of-
trial.
Yeah, I originally had it prepared for last night, but since we had to, postpone it a bit for today, I was like, okay, I already have it prepared.
Yeah. So Oro has the trigger, and yeah, we the only thing I told Oro was prepared for the end of this trial. So, yes. Teehee. Anyways, Indy, if you must go, then you are perfectly fine. So I see that you're
he's already
streaming. Right now.
streaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I will raid you raid into you because I've had a massive headache this entire time, unfortunately.
Oh no.
No, I think it's
I gotta
go.
go.
Bye.
See you next week.
Goodbye. Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've had like just a fucking migraine, which has been unfortunate. I think it's just because the hot and cold of the heat has been getting to my head. So I'm just gonna raid on out. Yeah. But thank you all lovelies for being here. I appreciate it immensely. Oro, thank you for joining me, and India, of course, as well. You guys have been absolutely wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you for the bonk. I don't know why my bonk redeem's not working. I think Sound Alert is just messed up. But thank you guys so much for the support, the kindness, the love, and appreciation. We are going to go give Indy lots of love. And thank you so much for joining for the case. Thank you for listening to us cry, actually, quite frankly. Because I was really
I had
trying...
to, like, stop myself from out loud sobbing.
Yeah, that scene is so good. That scene is so good. Oh my god, please go give love, and we will talk more about it next week because we'll have a lot more time to talk about it next week,
Yeah.
So yes, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much. Give Indy lots of love and support the stream. So yeah, we're gonna go give Indy lots of love and appreciation. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.